Mm. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lee Hui Xiong. I'm from Cybersecurity Malaysia, responsible for the Cybersecurity Professional Development Department. Now, Cybersecurity Malaysia is a national cybersecurity specialist agency under the purview of the Ministry of Communication and Multimedia Malaysia, KTMM. So we are committed to provide a broad range of cybersecurity innovation-led service, programs, and initiatives. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lee. To help reduce the vulnerability of digital systems and at the same time strengthen Malaysia's self-reliance in cybersecurity. Malaysia is a national cybersecurity specialist agency. Now, just hold on, please. Ministry. Okay. Our intention is to cultivate and strengthen Malaysia's self-reliance in cyberspace, right? We have arranged a series of webinar and online training program, and you may refer to the website at https://www.cyberguru.my, and you can select the online training type for details. So anyhow, okay, we'll try our level best to keep you informed on upcoming events. Now, at the end of this webinar, just for your information, okay, please provide your registration. Now, this is very important, okay? Please provide your registration. Now, you may scan the QR code to be shown right after this webinar presentation. Right? Okay, the registration will serve as evidence for your CPD points with the Malaysia Board of Technologies, MBOT, SPL KPM, or in Bahasa is Sistem Pengurusan Latihan Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, and the Global Accredited Cybersecurity Education Certification, or Global ACE certification. So these are the three bodies that will accept this webinar for the CPT points. Now, perhaps some may ask a question on how can I build my capabilities from this event. So, well, okay. A quick answer, which I would like to share with you guys, is that this is just for information. This is a learning platform, okay? Learning platform for you to acquire cybersecurity knowledge, skill, or both knowledge and skill. So you may learn through a series of cybersecurity Malaysia webinars, okay, like this one, or you may sign up to attend our online training program. So of course, if you need to deepen your knowledge and skill, okay, at the same time. And alternatively, okay, you may attend our classroom-based training program after the movement control order, okay? So after the MCO, okay? Now, our webinar today entitled WFH, stands for Work From Home, Online Meeting Platform Security Demystified. Delivered by our strategic partner, Mr. Clement Arul, from Kapagam Technologies Senin Berhad. Okay, Mr. Clement is a prominent speaker, trainer, pen tester, security specialist, and expert. And not only well known in Malaysia, but also in the Southeast Asia region. Right, without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Clement Arul. Please, Mr. Clement, hand over to you.
Thanks, Mr. Lee. Good morning, friends. Hope you're able to hear me clear. Let me share my screen once I get the presenter panel up, and we can start our 1-hour session that's gonna actually get into the online platform security. Guys, get me the, yeah, good, great. There you go. Right, so let's get started, guys. Hope you're able. Great. Good. So, good morning, friends. I'm Clement. I'm a cybersecurity professional who is working across this region all the way to African continent with Nigeria and the others. So we predominantly do cybersecurity services, awareness trainings, deep dive trainings, and professional services across this region. So let's dive quickly into why we are here today. The agenda for the day is this. Okay, so we're gonna actually, right, hold on. Let me get this out. Okay, great. So our agenda is we are gonna actually understand what are the different online meeting platforms that we've been using, because today, getting into meeting online has become a new norm. All of us are living online. For the last 1.5 months plus, we all have been sitting in our house attending meetings over online meeting platforms. And that's going to be a new norm. And we do not know how long it's going to be that way. So it becomes very important for us to understand all the security issues around these online meeting platforms and the base necessity of all your relevant and required security settings that you need to put in place as a host of a meeting or as an attendee of the meeting. So that's the whole concept of today's 1 hour webinar. So let's quickly jump on. After this 1 hour, we will also open up for question and answers. And then Cybersecurity Malaysia has put in for quizzes and wonderful prizes for you. All right, guys, let's get going. We cover first with the famous online meeting platform, that is Zoom for you. We have been hearing a lot of news about Zoom, how vulnerable it is. And there are a lot of press who started running newses like Zoom is a malware. From a technical perspective, let's see whether is it true or not, right? So I've actually listed out all the known bugs or vulnerabilities or problems for a lot of agencies, a lot of companies in Malaysia and all over the world to start taking a stand of banning Zoom from their network and say, we are not going to use Zoom for now. Did they take the right decision? Was it well informed? What is the technical details behind it? Okay. Well, I understand that there's a different kind of, or rather, people with a different experience background have connected to this webinar. So I'm not going into very detailed technical, but I'll try to deliver what you need to know. So in this list under Zoom security, you see a list as how it happened out there. The first problem was Zoom bombing. In the dark web, it is called a Zoom raid. Then it became a big hoo-ha on the privacy issues, data being shared with Facebook. And the next blow was a lot of people were actually complaining all the Zoom recording is publicly available and the Zoom server is being or has been compromised. Followed by application vulnerability, which wrecked the credibility of the Zoom security in that matter, followed by the end-to-end encryption. And the last nail was 500,000 Zoom accounts were sold in hacker forums. These made actually headlines for a lot of people to believe that Zoom is no longer secure, right? So let's dive in one by one to see what really are these. Is Zoom really a malware or not? Okay, so the first one, Zoom bombing. We would have heard about photo bombing before, right? When you are taking a picture with your friends or family members, someone who's not supposed to be or someone who's not intended to be in the picture starts putting up their face inside. That's called as photo bomb. Exactly same here in Zoom bombing. If someone who actually attends a meeting for which they are not being invited, and they started putting in some hate speech or racist messages, sexual harassments, posting pornography images, or some kind of physical harm kind of thing. So all of this is what we call as Zoom bombing. This was the first problem that was reported on the press, right? On the right hand of your screen, you see something interesting. This is an Instagram post from Taylor's University, Malaysia. Look at that. Okay, content, my dear friends. It speaks about free virtual fitness classes. Free virtual fitness class is very important and very good when we are in our houses. So it makes more sense, correct? But over here, the problem is they started putting up the Zoom class link, the meeting ID, and the password. When you put your meeting ID and password in public details on a public forum, that opens up it does open up for anyone to join in the meeting, right? So step number one, is this a problem of Zoom? No, it is the user's problem. Since all of us started using meeting for the first time, and we wanted to inform about this information to all the others, we started putting all this information like meeting ID and password on public forums. This is a wrong practice from a user perspective, right? Is this possible with other meeting platforms? Yes. If you're going to take your meeting ID and meeting password and start posting up in Instagrams and Facebooks, anyone can actually too. So actually, this wasn't a Zoom vulnerability or Zoom's problem. Zoom bombing is totally of user awareness issue, right? Now let's go on to the next one. Zoom privacy, right? Well, I have a different view altogether. If you are concerned about privacy, most of the things on internet today we can't use, including whether we are using Google or Facebook or anything, right? But again, coming back to Zoom privacy over here, it was found that Zoom's iPhone app used a Facebook software development kit in the back, which was actually pulling Zoom users' device information. I repeat, users' device data to Facebook, not the user's personal data. Now, a lot of public forums and the newspapers reported that from Zoom app, a lot of user content or users' data is going to Facebook. What data was actually going was iOS device model, language, time zone, version, and IP address with some analytics to Facebook. This is totally wrong. I am not saying this is correct. This is totally wrong. And they found out this once people started reporting and they disabled the SDK, right? You know how Facebook works, right? So it's called as surveillance capitalism. That means have a surveillance on people, use that information for marketing purposes. So the technical term is called as surveillance capitalism. Facebook and Google is actually built on that particular principle, right? Anyway, so this was dead against the privacy that all of us hold close at heart. And it was reported and they removed this out from the Zoom iPhone app. Let's move on quickly next. This one made a big news all over the place, guys. All our Zoom meeting recording has been actually leaked. Anyone can listen to our video online. Oh my God, all our trade secrets, intellectual properties, and everything is gone out. And everyone was screaming and they were totally having a lot of phobia around this. But let's go one level deeper, friends. Again, this did not leak out from Zoom servers. Every Zoom meeting gets recorded if you want to record it, right? So when you click on recording, it starts recorded and it actually stores at Zoom_0, Zoom_1, 2, 3, 4 kind of a iterative numbers down there as a sequence numbers. So a lot of customers or users, what they started to do is after a meeting is over, they actually uploaded that video on their website or on social media platforms or on their cloud storage without any password protection or access protection. That means only these people are supposed to see it, others don't have to. They didn't do all of that access privilege settings. They put it on public. When you put it on public websites, what will Google do? It indexes and it shows to you as a result in the search engine of meetings that you're not supposed to see actually. If you want to actually go for the next, your Zoom_1, Zoom_2, 3, 4, you can find a whole lot of things out there which is not supposed to be on the public platform. So again, the truth here is it is a user awareness issue rather than a Zoom server or a bug or a vulnerability or a video leak perspective right over there. So let's move on to the next, my dear friends. This is a real problem. There was a vulnerability. For those who are in this webinar who might not understand the word vulnerability, it is any bug, any security bug in an application is called as vulnerability. Let me also explain a little bit more over here, guys. As long as it is run from a software, right? As long as anything that runs on a software, it is an application written by humans. It is called as, okay, coding, whether C, C++, .NET, PHP, Java. There's a different programming languages. So you use programming languages to write softwares. And as long as you're running anything built on applications, software, source codes, there are going to be bugs. As long as there is a bug that allows someone to exploit it, that is what we call as a security bug or a vulnerability. When a vulnerability is found and there is no patch from the software vendor, it is called as a zero-day vulnerability. Okay, you will understand why am I explaining this in the next slide. Okay, so Zoom had a vulnerability in its application called as UNC path injection vulnerability. In a more simpler terms, anyone can actually send you a URL in your personal or a group chat if they are part of that meeting. By you just opening up that link in the chat message, your Zoom application will be or attacked or compromised, which allows the attacker to take over your computer in totality. That means thereafterwards, he can see everything in your computer, right? Initially, it was actually reported as Windows login credentials only, but the truth is they can run any command on your computer by taking over the full control of your device. That's what I call as system compromise. Initially, it was said it is only Windows application, but it was also later found it affects both Windows and Mac OS Zoom application. Are we clear on that, guys? So is it normal by from all the other softwares that we use? Let's see that later. But now on this one, when Zoom got to know about this, they fixed it in a couple of days. Now, according to Microsoft's report, on an average, it takes around 200 days to fix a vulnerability because it has to go through fixing on the source code, then multiple levels of testing, like functional testing, your unit testing, your modular testing, and a whole lot of other things, right? Then only they will release it to public, because there have been a lot of instances where then there is a new patch, it gives you a blue screen on your computer, right? So because of that, they do a lot of testing before it comes. So on an average, it takes around 200 days to give a patch. From Zoom perspective, a lot of us commended the speed that they came on with the patch. Within a couple of days, it was actually patched over there. Now, let me show you something very interesting, my dear friends. This is a platform called as ZeroDay. Okay, nothing to do with Zoom over here, guys. This is a platform called as ZeroDay, which you can actually browse on our browsers. Okay, you can just go to Google and type ZeroDay. It'll give you the site zeroday.com. And you can actually go in there. This is the price where they buy any 0 days. They actually buy and sell. Why would someone actually buy if they're not going to sell it, right? So this is a platform which actually buys and sells 0-day vulnerability. I can actually buy an antivirus evasion 0-day, right? And a whole lot of other things over here. If you phones and WhatsApps to WeChats to iMessages, anything that you can ask for, there are 0 days available on the public as well as in the dark web, where people can buy and sell and they can then use it to attack us. All right, so this is a common economy that is built in the dark web. So vulnerability, okay, cycle, right? Okay, now let's move on. The next problem with the Zoom meeting platform was Zoom end-to-end encryption. Okay, a lot of people might not understand the technicality between end-to-end. If you are actually watching and if you're using WhatsApp for the last couple of weeks, you can find that when you actually do a WhatsApp call or a WhatsApp chat, on the top, it shows end-to-end encrypted. Now, what that means is, see this picture down here on your right-hand side. You have actually laptops, you have your TV screens, and you have your mobile phones. As long as Zoom client is used for connection, end-to-end is encrypted. Okay, now let me put it in simple terms. We are using WhatsApp, right? You are sending a WhatsApp message to your friend. You type a message and you hit send. And the message leaves your mobile device and it travels to your friend's WhatsApp app on his phone, right? This total journey of the message moving from your WhatsApp app on your mobile to your friend is encrypted. No one can actually read it in the middle, including the WhatsApp server. Are we clear on that? When your friend replies back to you, that is also end-to-end encrypted. No one will be able to see it, including the WhatsApp server. This is what we call as end-to-end encryption. Are we clear on that, guys? Now, coming back to the Zoom. When anything that you do on a Zoom meeting, as long as you're using Zoom application, whether it is on the phone or whether it is on your desktop, laptop, it is end-to-end encrypted on your video, on your audio, and on your chat. Everything is totally end-to-end encrypted. There was a bit of false or fake news out there saying that videos are not end-to-end encrypted. Only chat is encrypted, audio is not. People can actually hear what we are talking. That is not true. I have actually quoted Zoom's own press release as well as a blog post with the URL for you on that screen. You can go and check that in detail. I've tested that out too. But, there is a problem here. Now, Zoom allows other devices to connect. That means you can call into a meeting from a phone, a landline. You can actually dial a number and you can connect to a Zoom meeting. You can connect from some other VoIP mobile systems, your PABX, your VoIP digital PABX systems, and you can connect to Zoom meeting. The problem starts here. When you are using applications or devices that are not Zoom devices or Zoom apps, Zoom on their cloud use what we called as connectors, right? Your cloud room connector, your telephonic connectors. The information from your device, that is your phone that you're dialing in, all the way to these connectors are not secure. And from the connectors inwards between the connectors or to the Zoom server is only encrypted when possible. You see that red color stuff that I've actually highlighted for you in, okay, that is the exact text in Zoom's blog, which says that we will only encrypt when it is possible. So you have an end-to-end encryption problem till today if you're using third-party devices or you're dialing in to call through your phone. As long as you're using Zoom's applications, it is end-to-end encryption. This is just a clarification for you to understand where the problem really is. Okay, so let's move on quickly, guys. So this is another tool called as ZeroDay. This was used to scan internet for all the meeting IDs, because a lot of people started putting meeting ID without passwords. Until lately, Zoom mandated that a meeting can be only created, whether it is free ones or the paid ones, can only be created with the password, right? But again, if you go and actually post your meeting ID and password online, you're still going to have a problem again. But this automated tool, called as ZeroDay, used to actually scan for internet for all the meeting IDs and allow the hackers to connect to those meeting ID without passwords. So the moment you start putting passwords, this is not going to work. So don't worry about this guy. Then the last one, 500,000 Zoom accounts sold on hacker forums. A big hoo-ha again happened where a lot of companies said we are no longer going to use Zoom. Again, there's a total misunderstanding over here. Zoom server was not compromised. Zoom users were compromised because they used the same password in multiple websites. This attack is called as credential stuffing attack. What it means is, if you're going to use your same password for Yahoo and Google, if your Yahoo user ID password is compromised, your Google account is also going to be compromised. If you're going to attach your Facebook to your Google, your Facebook is also compromised. You understand, guys? So if one user ID password is compromised and you reuse that password again and again in multiple websites, your total identity chain is going to get compromised. This attack of you taking a user ID password from one data leakage and then you're trying to do with all the other websites and see how many of them are having the same password, and you taking over their account is what we called as credential stuffing attack or account takeover attack. Okay, so 500,000 Zoom accounts were sold is because 500,000 people had actually reused their passwords and they lost the password in some other places, or they might have actually received an email as if it is coming from Zoom, which is the classic phishing. And they would have actually put the user ID and password and they would have lost it. Again, the clarification here is it didn't go out from Zoom server. A Genesis store is an underground marketplace in the dark web, guys. Genesis store is an underground dark web marketplace where credentials are bought and sold. Look at the names down there, guys. You're not only seeing Zoom down there, you're seeing Apple Store, you're seeing Facebook, you're seeing Microsoft Live, you're seeing Netflix, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and all of that there. All these accounts of users are being traded in the dark web. It doesn't mean all these servers have been compromised. It's the users' accounts have been compromised. So a lot of people don't understand the difference between that, and then they feel scared and the phobia kicks in automatically. So that's why I want to show you this one. So to sum up the Zoom side before we go into Microsoft Teams, the Zoom security reality, your Zoom bombing or the Zoom raid, it is a user issue. Need awareness for your users. You need to come up with an online meeting security policy in your company. So you have to put everything in for everyone to follow. It's more of user awareness. Zoom privacy has been patched and removed, so we don't have to worry about that. Zoom recording video leak, again, user problem. Your policy should say that people should not post the meeting, recording in public places. Windows app vulnerability, patched and fixed. Please do update to latest version if you're using Zoom. Zoom end-to-end encryption, Zoom clarified, but again, I stand my ground. If there are actually a dial-in happening, then you're going to have a problem on the encryption. Zoom meeting ID enumeration tool no longer works. 500,000 Zoom accounts, user issue, stop reusing your passwords. So I don't see a reason why you should stop using Zoom and start running to other meeting platforms, because other meeting platforms have similar problems too. You might not know it. I'm going to list it for you in the next slide. So let's move on to Microsoft Teams, my dear friend. A lot of us use Microsoft Teams together today because it's Office 365. Users have Microsoft Teams, whether it's E3, E5, or A3, A5 from an academic perspective. A lot of us use. Microsoft silently did a patching on 27th April 2020. You don't find this information in most of the websites. You just Google it out. Also, you don't see that in many places. I checked it out yesterday night, how many people reported on it, but leaving that marketing and politics behind it, let's go from here. On 27th April 2020, Microsoft issued a patch for a major vulnerability that was reported by CyberArk researchers, and they reported to Microsoft on 23rd March. So it's very good on Microsoft's part. Within a month, they issued a patch. So if you ask me, oh, then what happens between 23rd and 27th? Everyone who used Microsoft Teams were vulnerable. That's what the truth is. So that is the duration where it is a zero-day vulnerability. Now, what is this vulnerability? Okay, a simple stuff. I have a picture down here to explain, right? A simple stuff is an attacker sends an image to a Microsoft Teams chat. The moment a victim opens that image in the chat message, it infects that computer, and it actually takes the Microsoft Teams token, which is your user ID, password, credential token, right? So once you have the token, you can log in as the user. And then as more and more people start looking at that image in that meeting group, it actually gathers everyone's token and it sends it to the attacker, who can then use the token to compromise the Microsoft Teams. Now, let me put a twist to it. Your Microsoft Teams password is same as your Office 365 password. If I have the Microsoft Teams token, because of Office 365 single sign-on, will I be able to log into your email? Will I be able to log into your SharePoint? Do you understand the problem of it? Okay, the depth of the vulnerability. So that is what was there, which Microsoft actually patched on 27th of April 2020. Okay, last Monday, I suppose. Right, so now that's done. And there is a proof of concept video for you. In that particular URL link, CyberArk are the people who actually found it and reported to Microsoft. So it's pretty much all legal down here. So you can actually go to that URL link and you see the step-by-step how the machine gets infected, how the token comes out, right? So there is a clear video given by CyberArk for you. So that's for Microsoft Teams meeting platform. And a similar problem as how Zoom had, a URL comes into the chat, you open the URL and you are getting infected. Here, an image comes into a chat, you open that image, you're finished with that, it actually takes things out from your computer and sends it to the attacker in an encrypted tunnel. So your firewalls will not pick it up. So that's another problem there. Okay? So that's with respect to the proof of concept video down there. Right. Now, in 2019, another major vulnerability was found and again actually patched within a couple of months by Microsoft Teams. This allows the hacker to send in commands into Microsoft Teams meeting, whether as an email, as an invitation to you, or through some phishing emails. The moment you click on it, they will actually insert some arbitrary codes into your computer, which will now pop up to tell that, hey, Microsoft Teams need to update or upgrade. The moment you say okay, it runs the update command in the Microsoft Teams desktop application, which will take over your computer in totality. That means they can then access your files, your web cameras, and your entire data in your computer. So that's how serious the vulnerability was. And it was actually fixed in 2019 again. So vulnerabilities is not actually uncommon. It's normal for any software or application, whether it is Zoom or whether it is Microsoft Teams meeting, or whether it is GoToMeeting or WebEx. We will see that later, right? So all of this is happening in all the meeting platforms. Why all of this is coming today? My dear friends, when all of us started using softwares like online meeting platforms, when all of us actually converge in a particular software platforms all around the world, from a hacker's perspective, it becomes easier for them to find a bug or vulnerability so they can compromise the 100,000 or 1,000,000 users at one stretch, rather than they go and actually knock in everyone's door separately. Okay, so rather than me going and hacking one by one, if I actually find a vulnerability in a platform that is used by 100,000 people, I hack 100,000 people instantly. So that is why hackers will always go and look for softwares or platforms that most of us use, so that they can actually take over our data and they can sell and they can make money. It's a 1.5 trillion US dollar economy in the dark web, guys, right? Put up the GDP of our ASEAN and you'll get the answer how big that economy is. So let's move forward. As of 2nd May, guys, a few days back, there is a latest phishing campaign. Okay, as a company, Kapagam is part of Efficient eSolutions Berhad, where we do a lot of threat intelligence. We do a lot of dark web monitoring. We have found a lot of latest phishing campaigns that's affecting Microsoft Teams, particularly. Please be careful of any email that is coming that looks exactly like Microsoft, right? Which actually tells you that, hey guys, you need to click here to update or upgrade your Microsoft team. You have been invited for a meeting with someone. So careful on how and what you are actually clicking on. If it's possible, verify the sender. Now, how do you verify a sender? Not by the email address, my dear friends. I can send an email to you as if it is coming from anyone on this earth. I can even send you an email as if it is coming from Donald Trump. Why would you get it? But anyway, for an example, Donald Trump or Prime Minister of Malaysia sending it to your personal email. Can be anyone sending an email to anyone without compromising anyone. Okay, that means I can send, as long as I have an email of a person, I can send an email from that email ID to you without compromising his password. Okay, it's called as anonymous or using email proxies. There are number of ways. It is only actually 4 lines of code programmatically to send that email. So by just looking at the email ID, you don't have to believe that it is coming from that person. So go and look for the header of the email. For example, if you're using Gmail for that matter, when you receive an email and you open that email, which shows what is the email ID or SMTP server it is actually coming from. If that is not same as the email sending company, don't open it. If you're using Outlook, double click on that email, go to File and Properties, you will get to see the signature header. Look for the SMTP from and see which is the company that is sending you. This is few ways of actually checking whether it is a right guy who's sending you the invitation or not. But more than 15,000 to 50,000 people have been actually rigged off from their Microsoft Teams passwords. So be careful. And the URL that they are using is sharepointonline-irs.com. So it might look like more genuine that it is coming from Microsoft, but it is not. Okay, and that doesn't belong to Microsoft for that matter, that particular domain. So careful on these domains that is very active in Malaysia and across this region as we are talking today. Now let's go on to GoToMeeting. In 2019, GoToMeeting also patched few critical vulnerabilities that allowed hackers to insert their own code into any program that runs in your computer. They can actually attach into the memory of your computer, and they can then attach to any of the programs that is running in your computer, and they can take over your computer full access. And they can remain there unidentified for a very long time. So again, GoToMeeting guys fixed it in 2019. Guys, does that mean that all these platforms didn't have a vulnerability before 2019? Yes, they did have, right? But I have actually picked up only the latest ones. Otherwise, this is going to be a long table down here for every platform. So I'm just actually taking the latest ones in 2019 and 2020 to show it to you. This is happening all across the meeting platforms. So if you're having a myth in your head, I'm not using Zoom, hence I'm going to be safe and secure, you're wrong. And that's exactly what I'm actually trying to show you as an awareness for you, my dear friends. Right, now coming to Cisco WebEx. In March 2020, Cisco patched 2 high severity vulnerabilities, similar as Zoom and Microsoft Teams and GoTo. Arbitrary code execution, right? And they can take over your computer. And a second one, early this year in 2020, Cisco patched a bug that allows an intruder or a hacker to join into password protected meetings of WebEx. Okay, crashing into password protected meetings. Your Zoom bombing was for the meetings where there was no password, or someone actually publicized the password. Then they were able to come in. A Cisco WebEx had a problem. I repeat, had a problem. They have patched it. That people can actually come into a meeting without authenticating, even if the meeting is protected by password. Right? So they actually fixed it, and that was taken care of. So that's a quick about few of those meeting platforms that we use today, as we are actually nearing our timing, 45 minutes into where we started. So to summarize this, guys, so we have seen Zoom and all the vulnerabilities that we are aware of, and why it happened, how it happened, and who is the actual root cause, or what was the root cause behind it, and how we can actually handle it. Then we went into Microsoft Teams. We understood the recent patches and their vulnerabilities and how it works. We also understand the phishing campaign that is happening and how we can actually check that out when we receive emails that is coming as if it is coming from Microsoft or Microsoft Teams that looks exactly as a Microsoft Teams invitation for you. Okay. Then we also looked into GoToMeeting's vulnerability and Cisco WebEx quickly on that. Now, to summarize on what is the policies that you need to put in place. We have put together 15 pointers down over here, which you can take it in. Depending upon which platform you are using, might have a little bit of tweaks here and there, but most of the platforms that I have actually shown to you today will be able to adhere to all of this 15, or rather actually most of this 15 pointers in the next 2 slides. So make sure your meetings are password protected and enable 2-factor authentication. It'll be very, very good to have a 2-factor authentication so that anyone cannot simply actually sign in using someone else's password, because you're going to get a code coming to your phone, your mobile phone, right, to confirm. So 2-factor authentication is good. Password protection is mandatory to have. Avoid announcing your meetings on social media or other public outlets unless it is a public meeting, like what we are doing now is public meeting. We are open. We are actually streaming on YouTube live. So we don't mind everyone to join in, because the intention is to create awareness and to give clarity for every meeting platform, right? Okay. So if not, do not announce your meetings and your meeting ID and passwords on public platforms. Carefully inspect the list of participants periodically. If you find there are people who are not part of your company you have joined in, you can kick them out, right? And you can even lock the meeting. You're just actually coming up down. You can even lock the meeting from anyone else joining in it, right? So carefully control your screen sharing and your webcam sharing, right? A lot of people also do that. They take, they sit in the office or sit in the house with a whiteboard with a lot of information, including passwords written on them, and it gets streamed all across, and they have somehow uploaded their video into the public domain, right? When you go to Zoom_0, Zoom_1, you will see a lot of things you're not supposed to see, including private, massaging, so on and so forth. Okay, let's not go into it. I leave it to your creativity. Okay, so carefully control screen you're sharing. Disable the join before host setting. So they have to join only after the host joins in, and you enable the waiting room. So the host verifies who it is, and then they allow one by one to join the meeting. Okay, beware everything that is around your camera. Use the remove feature to remove unwanted or rogue participants. Don't use your personal meeting ID. Allow the meeting platform to create a random meeting ID. Very important. Don't reuse the meeting IDs. Most of the most of the platforms today do not allow you to reuse your meeting IDs, but they used to before. So get a random meeting ID so no one can actually connect. There are meeting platforms, including Zoom, was actually running as a sequential number before, long time back, but they have actually made it a random meeting ID as mandatory today. So a lot of people are actually learning. This is a process of learning through attacks. Mute your participants by default unless they ask for in a hand raise gesture or whatever, then you can actually unmute them. Disable private chat, enable only if needed. Disable annotation, enable only if needed. Use the latest version of the software is very, very, very important. Educate all employees who host their meetings and those who attend for the meetings with the policy of your online meeting for your company. Do not upload meeting videos in public platforms. And I'll say one more thing, disable file uploads. Okay, disable file uploads on the online meeting platform unless if it is needed. Otherwise, disable them. Try to lock and reduce the attack surface as much as possible so that we don't have any intruders coming in and having issues yeah, something is blinking. Let me get it out my way. Come back over here. So this is a URL that it's our blog where we have a lot of interesting blogs on security that you can actually go on, including a lot of Zoom articles, Microsoft Teams, security settings, a whole lot of things. That's for informational purposes. You can go and read those blogs that are blog every day or alternate day there. Before I actually sum up and actually give it up back to Mr. Lee and Fayez. Cybersecurity Malaysia's training arm, Cyber Guru, is running a cybersecurity awareness for all users. This can be attended by anyone. Strictly no technical jargons will be used. Simple, no boring slides. Everything is going to be 100% live hacking demos. If we tell you, okay, we are the ones who are actually conducting, I will be delivering those online trainings for you guys. When I tell you that, hey guys, your iPhone is possibly more vulnerable than Android phone, I'll show you why I say that. Live video or rather live hacking. If I say that, hey, by you just downloading an app, your mobile phone can get infected and someone can start streaming video from your mobile camera, front or back, without even a light blinking and without even you knowing, because most of us today sleep with our mobile phones in our bedrooms. And a lot of people who take their mobile phones into bathrooms. Right? But anyway, so all of that can be seen by someone else from outside. How it's being done? We will show it to you how it is being done. We will tell you how to stop it from happening, right? So every attack that we speak about, for example, by you just simply actually scanning a QR code in a public place, you might get infected. QR code scanning, we always do that, man. So we will actually show you how it is done. By you posting a post on your social media platform, you can be compromised. We will show you how it is done. So every actually security awareness stuff that we talk about. Okay, let me quickly show you the stuff. Okay, this is what I believe you are all seeing the agenda, right? Yeah. Now, so this is all the 7 actually modules or sessions that we cover in that 4 hours. Most of them are 100% live hacking demo perspective. Rather than me telling you in a slide, I'll show it to you. I will use all freely available tools. This is to demystify our myth in our head that hackers are those who are sitting in the underground with a hood on them, darker lighting environment with a Coke or a Pepsi in the hand, and those who type zeros and one all the time. Not necessarily. There are freely available tools, and there are actually tutorials available that can hack anyone within few minutes without even touching your computer or your laptop, as well as your mobile phone. So each of these topics, we show you live hacking, how it is done. The moment you know how it is done, you will be able to pick up all of this possible signals, and you will be able to defend yourself from getting yourself actually compromised. So this is the whole stuff that we do as an awareness. Let me get back onto my screen for you guys. Okay, so it's 100% live demo perspective, no technical jargons whatsoever, suitable for all. I don't have to be an IT literate, anyone for that matter, whether it is students or whether it is actually teachers, your lecturers, or HR people, your finance people, even your front desk receptionist, because front desk receptionist is an easier person to take over, and her machine is connected to the network, and it can actually take over the entire network within 5-10 minutes thereafterwards. We will show you all of that. We will explain to you how it is done. We will tell you the tips and tricks how to defend yourself from all these latest attacks. And this whole thing is going to be mostly a storytelling format, right? Rather than a boring technical stuff, guys, right? So it's a 4-hour stuff. The first class online training under CyberGuru happens on 12th of May. That's 7 days a week from now. So quickly sign up with CyberGuru. And it's only 300 per packs. It's generally 1,500 earlier. So it's 300 per packs, HRDF claimable. For more information, reach out to Cybersecurity Malaysian friends or into CyberGuru website. You have all the details. You can go to that particular URL that I have given. There is also another awareness, which is for C-level, senior management, board members, directors who are worried about the risk, the reputation of their company. How do I handle if there is a breach during the breach and the post-breach? How do you handle the crisis? How do you do business continuity and cyber resilience? And again, live demo based, use cases based, right? We take Sing Health for hospitals. We take a few banks from a financial perspective. So we take use cases from different industry verticals. So you can connect to it if you are from that same industry. And we can actually learn a lot in 4 hours there. The webinar price is 600. The schedule will be published by CyberGuru shortly, and it is also HRDF claimable, guys. So thanks for listening to me. We are open for question and answers. You might have been actually putting in questions, which can actually come into my chat box with my help from my friends down here. And then we can actually take it away from there. Hold on, guys. Mr. Lee and Faiz, I actually over back to you. I see questions that's coming in. Guys, you're free to ask questions. We will answer as much as question in the next 5-10 minutes. If there are more questions that we can't answer, we appreciate your time in actually asking us. We will answer those questions either under CyberGuru or by answering actually personally to your email, actually compiling all the questions and answers as a document, right? We'll do that for you because our intention is to have a clear awareness of what's happening out there. So each and every one of us are informed decision makers who do not go by just fear mongering and public information, which might not be true all the time, right? So let me quickly get into the questions. Right. So there is a person who asks, is it safe to use Zoom? Right, after all of that, that's a good question, right? Guys, with whatever they have actually fixed everything, currently there's no problem in Zoom, right? And I've seen there's only one problem, as I have actually listed you earlier, which was a Zoom app vulnerability that was immediately fixed in 2 days. The similar problems were there in all the meeting platforms. So if you're not going to use Zoom because it had a vulnerability, you can't use any of the meeting platforms for that matter, right? See, I'm not actually telling you that we all have to go to caveman technology, use pigeons to send messages across, hide the money under the carpet. That's not what it means, right? We need to be aware of what it is and then actually keep moving. What software do you use for cybersecurity? A broad question. I'm not sure whether my friend is asking with respect to an antivirus or firewall, IPS, IDS. Guys, everything works the same irrespective of different companies. All of them works on your patterns, your signatures, your behaviors. Now they have next generation antivirus that uses artificial intelligence. Go with whatever is in your top list and you should be all right. Right, going up. Well, okay, guys. Too obvious being biased to Zoom. No. Let me actually make it very clear. It might have sounded that way for the first 15, 20 minutes, but we want to actually put from a technical, I'm not a Zoom's marketing person, nor a shareholder or a consultant for them, right? You can verify that. And technical person, we need to share the clarity of every meeting platform, right? Let's not take a stand against one and then go for another, right? But again, we need to acknowledge the common issues or issues available in every platform for that matter, right? So be aware, do your background check, understand the security possible issues, then use a software. This is a general tip or suggestion or my recommendation to you for all softwares. Do not, I always tell to my friends, as well as when I do awareness talks, we do a lot. We've done 200 plus in the last year across this region. I always tell this, never ever use a technology without understanding how it works. If you're going to go and buy a smart bulb, understand how it works, because a smart bulb directly connected on an internet is a security compromise to your entire house, because your smart bulb is in your Wi-Fi connected to internet. If someone actually connects to a smart bulb, they are actually connecting to your house Wi-Fi and you lose your entire house data communication, right? So always, never ever use any technology without understanding how it works, without looking into the security of it. Okay, let me take another example, CCTV. A lot of people have CCTV in their house and they publish the CCTV feed onto the internet, right? There are umpteen number of ways using Google that anyone can connect into the CCTV feed of your house, even if you had password protection on it, right? So careful on what you're actually doing, understand, and actually do it. I don't want to get into like whose investigation is right or wrong. Whatever I have given you in this slide deck is all publicly validated and available information. Just Google around, you will be able to find it, guys. Right? So I'm sorry if it sounded like Zoom bias. Intention is not that way. To give you a clarity of all meeting platforms and how it actually works on. So is there any other questions? All right, so let's scroll down a bit. Okay, from another friend. Okay, I'm actually trying to avoid telling the names over here, until unless you are happy me telling the names is for the privacy sake. A friend has asked, based on your study, which meeting platform is the best to be used security-wise? Okay, let me actually frame it again neutrally. Whatever vulnerability you saw, for example, Zoom bombing is possible in all meeting platforms, right? An app vulnerability has happened in all the meeting platforms. So singling out one as secure and one as not secure is not gonna actually be helpful. Understand all the security measures that a particular platform has put in place, and then based upon your requirements, select which is the right platform for you. Okay. But again, from a general perspective, my dear friends, always use a platform or a software. Look how committed the company is. There are actually companies, whenever there is a vulnerability found, they might turn back and say, no, it's not a vulnerability, it is a feature. There are companies who might actually turn back, right, for those, the particular mobile OS last week or a week before when a vulnerability was found. They said, no, there's no such vulnerability when it was actually wildly exploited. So look out for the company who acknowledges the vulnerability and fixes it, okay, fast. This applies to all softwares, not only meeting platforms. Always use those softwares where the company is upfront, acknowledges a vulnerability, fixes it fast, and actually puts our security as their priority. Use their softwares. We all will be good. Always, again, don't use anything without knowing how it works. Okay, what platform is used for today's webinar? YouTube Live, right? Can you share the slide deck? Okay, it's a call Cybersecurity Malaysia can actually make. I'll leave that to Mr. Lee and Fires. If you use different password for each application, are we still in safe mode? Okay, I would say if we use different password for each application and each website, are we safe? You are far more safe than people who are actually using, but be careful that you do not give away your password in any for phishing attacks. Be careful on your phishing attack. There's a lot of phishing attacks that is happening today, my dear friends. I actually take this opportunity to give you an awareness on something else. There is a heightened number of email extortion that is happening around the world, even in Malaysia. On an average, I get 10 to 15 calls a week. Okay, an email comes to you and tells that they have installed something on your laptop, and they have taken videos of you in compromised actually postures in your beds and bedrooms and so on and so forth. You watching pornography, blah 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 blah, and I will send it to all the people in your contact list if you don't pay me so much money. This is a very common stuff, and mostly 80% the email comes from your own email address. They will tell, see, it is the proof that I have sent it from your own email. That means I have compromised your email ID. Not necessarily check the email header. It might not be coming from your email ID itself. If at all it comes from email ID, change your email ID password. Simple as that. Change all your passwords, right? And rerun your antivirus scan and check and so on and so forth. Rather than going and paying for it, it might not be true at all. Okay. Okay. Is Google Meet safe? Right. Google Meet doesn't have an app. It uses browser. A similar question also comes, okay, most of the time, if I don't use the app on my desktop, can I use a browser to connect to the meetings? And will that be safe? You can actually use it. It's better. It's on a browser perspective rather than an app that is running, because browser runs on a sandbox mode. It has its own security for that matter in protecting anything that is going on. But again, it depends upon which browser, which version again, right? But it's better. You can always use Google Meet is using browser-based stuff, and there have been past vulnerabilities. Currently, nothing to be seen on it as of now, right? For me to elaborate more about any vulnerability. They had past, but not now. Okay, please explain what is random meeting ID. Okay, random meeting ID is generated by your meeting platform. Most of the meeting platforms use random ID. So the meeting ID number, it is created randomly with a junk rather than a sequential number. A lot of meeting platforms used to have sequential number before, but they don't have a sequential number now, as all of them learned their lessons from whatever happened to Zoom and other meeting platforms. On another place, I heard that fridge and air conditioner could be manipulated. How real is this? Is totally 100% real. Any smart home appliance or IoT devices connected to internet is open for attack, because most of those devices, if I have to put some number to it, 99% of those devices do not have security built in them. So they are going to have problem if they exist in your houses. As we are actually hitting past 12 o'clock, take one more question. Rest we will actually come in later. If there's any question that I have not answered so far, all are similar questions, which has been already answered. Yeah, same, can share the slide deck in PDF format. All right, a question. I'll take this as the last question and I'll move it to Fires there afterwards. If the account has been intruded by an attacker, what are the next steps that we should take on a Zoom account or any other platform account for that stuff? Change the password. Yes, change your passwords, right? So again, now coming back to password changing. NIST, again, an international organization, NIST last year said changing password every 60 days or 90 days is no longer working, right? Is why? Because see, users comes with creative ideas. They always try to find easy way. When my friend or when my friends and our customers, when we talk to them and they come and tell us that, hey, we can't remember passwords, I always tell them, don't belittle your intelligence. We can remember what happened in our life from the kindergarten time, right? So don't tell me that you can't remember password. The right answer is we don't want to remember password, right? So, and then you use password managers, and password managers gets hacked and you lose your password from there. It's always better to have separate passwords, and you have a lot of place here, believe me, to remember those passwords, guys. So careful with the password management, because okay, people started using the same password with different numbers. For example, okay, Clement $1A. Then after 60 days, it is Clement $2A. After 60 days, it becomes Clement $3A, kind of a thing, right? So careful with respect to how you use those passwords across, okay? Thank you guys for your time listening. Keep your questions actually coming in. I'll definitely answer it off this video channel, okay? And me pass the session back to Mr. Lee, our moderator. And we have actually quizzes coming up. Do stay online with us, and you have interesting prizes coming on the way. Keep your questions coming if you still have some, okay? I'm ready, I'm watching. Yeah, Clement, we are ready for the quiz. My friend says you're talking too much. We are ready for the quiz. Yeah, okay? On to you. Mr. Lee.
Oh, okay. My apology. Okay, can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me now? My apology. Okay, there was something wrong with my audio just now. So, of course, I would like to take this opportunity to thank to Mr. Clement for his most insightful presentation today. And of course, okay, thank you everyone for attending this webinar about cybersecurity. Now we will arrange more of such series, okay, in to build the knowledge and skill for everyone. And of course, we hope, okay, one day we will reach the stage that everyone will become self-reliant, okay. I mean, on their cyber incidents, okay. And if you look at the screen now, okay, we have already displayed a QR code, okay, and this QR code is for your registration. Now remember that this registration, okay, will serve as evidence for your CPD points with the MBOT, SVL KPM, and the Global A certification. Okay, kindly take your time and register through this QR code, and it's very important, okay, to prove as a proof of your attendance. Now at the same time, okay, on the next to it, okay, you may join the online quiz from the link provided. We have prepared some exciting prizes, okay, to 10 winners. Okay, of course, we will inform through the email. And last but not least, now, should you have any further question, okay, should you have any further question, you may always drop us an email, and you can see the link over there, the email link, okay, which is training@cybersecurity.my. So with this, once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody and also the organizer for organizing this event. And thank you, Mr. Clement, okay, of making this webinar a success. Okay, thank you, everybody.
And you guys, did you know that it is dangerous to chat with stranger online? They might have bad intention.
如果有人在跟你们讲话，你的名字是什么？你跟谁做？你的 phone number 是什么？不要跟他们讲，因为很危险。等下他来找你们，快跟你们的爸爸妈妈讲。
Mami, boleh tak Aaron nak pinjam telefon Mami nak tengok YouTube Kids? Terima kasih Mami. Kawan-kawan, kita kenalah minta izin ibu bapa sebelum melayari internet.
Time's up. It's 30 minutes already. It's time to read my favorite book now. My mom always says that not to surf the internet more than 20 minutes at one time because we need to give our eyes a rest too. Alright?
Did you see my password? You can't know other people's password, okay? Only my mom and dad can know. Remember, don't share your password with other people.
எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். நம்ம ஆன்லைன்ல நல்ல விஷயத்தை சொல்லணும், நல்ல விஷயத்தை பகிர்ந்து கொள்ளணும். ஏன்னா நம்ம மற்றவங்களுக்கு மனசை புண்படக்கூடாது.
Alright friends, be smart and be safe.
And also remember, we must stay at home. Okay?